Is there any science or research behind prayer or faith that helps people heal their body, their mind, or their souls?
They answered. They answered for you. Well, first of all, great to be here. Truly, it's really wonderful. And so, believe it or not, there's quite a lot of science now about prayer and meditation, but we differentiate between those two. And work by a guy by the name of Dr. David DeSteno at Northeastern University and others has really identified, first of all, a number of clear health benefits to acts of faith, including prayer. So the
Acts of faith.
Acts of faith.
What does that include?
So the mere statement that one believes in higher power or God or something larger of some kind is not sufficient to sort of glean these health benefits. It's not a problem, but it doesn't get you any health benefits. However, people that engage in faith-based practices, pretty much of any kind, that get your mind outside itself to some extent and acknowledge something or other things outside of you have been shown to have pretty spectacular health benefits in the short and long term. Everything from reduced cardiovascular disease, cerebrovascular disease, recovery from grief, recovery from addiction, and on and on and on, in ways that we can separate from the social connection that often goes with faith-based practices, which of course are also wonderful, convening with people, in some cases praying with people. And of course, prayer and faith is a very individual thing. It's something that for a long time made scientists kind of uncomfortable, unless you look into the history of scientists and then you realize that many scientists actually had faith-based practices. And the reason I say faith-based practices is it's different to engage in actions related to one's beliefs as opposed to just thinking, yeah, I believe in something greater than just...
So not just saying I believe in God or I
Right.
believe in the universe or a higher power or whatever you're saying is bigger than you.
That's
It's
right.
not enough to just say that, but it's actually having a practice of prayer or communing with people in a faith-based practice.
That's right. And, it was, I'm a long time meditator since I was in my teens. I turned 50 in a couple of weeks. I still am, and feeling good. Thank you. Meditation for me started off as a kind of a standard 20-minute a day or 10-minute a day. It soon went to 0 minutes per day type practice, as it does for many of us. It's very difficult for people to maintain a meditation practice. Very few people do that. It's a wonderful practice, as you know, for reducing stress, giving often insight, allowing more creativity. There are many, many hundreds of studies on this now. But the practice that I really embraced starting back in 2017 that I'm a huge proponent of is traditionally called Yoga Nidra. This has been something that's been known about for thousands of years and done for thousands of years. It involves lying down, doing some long exhale breathing. We can talk about why that's beneficial, which lowers the heart rate, among other things. A sort of body scan, getting the mind out of thinking and doing, as they say in these Yoga Nidra scripts, and to one of just being and feeling, one in pure sensation. Okay, so that's sort of my meditative practice. I coined that somewhat reluctantly as non-sleep deep rest because I thought that would bring more people to the practice. But I acknowledge that's a thousands of year old practice that was not developed by me, was developed by others. That's a form of meditation in the sense that you're not in a dialogue with anything outside yourself. Prayer, I think we all know what that is something quite different. And that's something that I've always done. In the past, it was somewhat covert prayer for me. I didn't really acknowledge that I pondered an existence of a higher power. And I had I wouldn't say a religiously divided family, but their beliefs and value systems were, let's just say, very diverse within my family. So it was a point of confusion for a long time. And then starting about a year and a half ago, I got into a regular practice of prayer. Daily, or it's actually nightly for me. And the way I do it doesn't really matter because, again, it's highly individual. But this is, it's a communication with, a non-human, entity for me, and praying to God. So, and people do this very differently. And I I think it can make some scientists uncomfortable because you say, well, you're supposed to be a person of science. You're supposed to be objective. And scientists and theologians have gone back and forth that, can you prove, can you disprove? And as Dr. David DeSteno points out, it becomes sort of irrelevant at the point where you acknowledge that the human brain, I think we can all acknowledge that the human brain is spectacular. It can change itself. It can make plans. It can enact those plans. There's a reason why we are the curators of the earth. I mean, we have brains that are far more sophisticated in terms of our ability to build technologies than any other species. And here I, of course, acknowledge the incredible sophistication of other species. But humans are the ones basically in charge of taking care of this planet. And yet human brains alone, and even in combination, are spectacularly terrible at solving certain problems. I mean, every time we see a challenge in the world, as many challenges these days, but recently there've been, some of these have been highlighted again and again, and it's hard to not just acknowledge that and see that and think, are we progressing? So then people cite statistics, right? They say, well, 100 years ago things were far more violent or difficult, infectious disease was worse, et cetera. But somehow you'd think, well, shouldn't we have it right by now? I mean, shouldn't we be able to control our behavior, resolve our differences? And that, to me, personally, I'm just revealing my personal beliefs, is where acknowledging that humans are not equipped to have all the answers. And that's where I look to my training as a neuroscientist. I say, we understand a fair amount about how the brain works, certainly not everything. And I don't think that the human brain, for all its beauty, and abilities, is capable of managing everything that life here on Earth presents to us. And so for me, this notion of higher power and faith-based practices has been enormously powerful for me in terms of helping me navigate decision space, come to clearer understanding about what emotions that exist in me and in others mean. Again, it's a very personal thing for each and every one of us, and I acknowledge that, but it's something that the science is really demonstrating has immense benefits as well.
What have you personally gained in the last year and a half since diving deeper into the practice of faith and prayer for you? What is just, whether you've researched it or not, what has personally been supportive for you?
It's a work in progress.
Have you seen health benefits or mental benefits? Or?
Yeah, for once I can answer in one word, which is peace.
Oh, wow.
It's
that's good. Oh, wow. Did you not have a lot of peace before you started this practice?
No.
Really?
I mean, I could find joy. I could find happiness. I like to think I could find meaning in my work and relationships, and but I didn't have that notion that sense, this really core belief that I now hold, that I'm not supposed to have all the answers of how to bring about peace. And so I pray for, among other things, peace for myself, for others. One of the things that I found to be most beneficial, and we've heard all of this in the psychology studies, is actually praying for those that you dislike the most.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.